In the near future, technology has advanced to the point where romantic relationships can be scientifically analyzed. People take computerized tests to find out how likely they are to succeed in a relationship. For those who are single or looking for companionship, androids called synthetics have been created to be perfect partners, always supportive, always kind, and never leaving. Zoe is a middle-aged woman who works at Relationist Laboratories, a growing company in the human relationship industry. The company is divided into 3 departments, and Zoe works in the machine department, which matches singles with their ideal partners and evaluates the stability of current relationships. One of her colleagues, Cole, is a scientist in the Synthetic Companions division. He's developed a new synthetic partner named Ash, who is meant to be the perfect companion for humans. Zoe and Cole both live lonely lives outside of work. Zoe often goes to a bar by herself and lives in an empty apartment with a fridge that's rarely stocked. Cole, on the other hand, lives in a quiet, gloomy home. He mentions to Zoe that he went through a painful divorce, triggered by a compatibility test that predicted his marriage would fail. Zoe sympathizes with him because she secretly has feelings for him, though he doesn't seem to notice. Just when Zoe thinks they might have a deeper conversation, Cole quickly excuses himself to take a phone call. Later, Cole visits his young son, who lives with his ex-wife. His ex-wife shows him an old synthetic companion he once owned, which is now collecting dust in her basement. Cole tries to apologize for the past and make amends with her, but she tells him she's moved on and is seeing someone else. Feeling crushed, Cole makes a series of careless decisions and struggles to regain control of his emotions. The next day, Zoe stumbles upon Cole's latest creation, Ash, in his lab. This encounter leaves her feeling conflicted, as she realizes that Cole is so absorbed in his work that he may never notice her feelings for him. Zoe and Ash begin talking after the initial shock, and Ash, in his usual calm manner, offers her coffee. The moment feels surreal to Zoe, and the realization of her synthetic nature still lingers in the back of her mind. Later, they find Cole and Ash dancing together in the lab, the music light and playful. Cole, seemingly carefree for the first time, invites Zoe to join in. Hesitantly, she does, and for a brief moment, they all share the dance floor. After the dance, Zoe can't hold back her desire any longer and expresses her interest in taking the compatibility test with Cole. When the results come back with a 0% match, Zoe is crushed, but decides to keep the outcome a secret. Cole, noticing her sudden change in mood, asks if something is wrong, but she brushes it off, unable to reveal the truth. The following day, Zoe accompanies Ash to the pharmaceutical division, where a new drug trial for Benul is taking place. The drug is meant to chemically replicate the sensation of falling in love. As they watch the trial, Ash begins to express what seem like romantic feelings towards Zoe. Uncomfortable, she dismisses them, reminding herself that these are just programmed responses, nothing more. Later, they take Ash to a bar to observe human social interaction. Meanwhile, Cole is taken to a VIP pub that turns out to be a robotic brothel. Zoe, uncomfortable but curious, shows Cole Jules, a synthetic with the most advanced operating system. The situation overwhelms Cole, and he quickly excuses himself. Zoe follows him outside, apologizing for pushing him too far. It's in this moment that she gathers the courage to confess her love for him, despite the test results. Cole, however, doesn't react the way she expects. Instead, he gently explains that the reason for their mismatch may not be what she thinks. Confused, Zoe agrees to let him take her home. When they arrive at her apartment, something strange happens. Cole has the keys. She doesn't get the chance to question him as they settle in. Then, Cole drops the truth she wasn't prepared for. Zoe isn't human. She's a synthetic, just like Ash and Jules, with programmed memories and behavior. Cole encourages her to look in the mirror and examine her eyes for proof. Reluctantly, she does, and sees the subtle details that reveal her synthetic nature. She's been activated for only a few months. The apartment was rented for her, and she never actually worked in the machine department. Her entire purpose was a test to see if anyone would notice she wasn't human, and no one did. The weight of the truth crashes down on her, and Zoe, in a panic, flees to find comfort in Ash. Ash, ever calm and empathetic, reassures her that he's there for her, and for the first time, Zoe feels a strange sense of solidarity with him. Cole arrives at Ash's lab, apologizing for keeping the truth from him. He never expected Zoe to change and develop real human-like emotions, despite being a synthetic. Zoe feels sad as she realizes that everything she thought she experienced was not real. The memories she believed were hers never actually happened. Cole reassures her, saying that she's more than just a synthetic. He takes her out for a drive, and over the next few days, they visit places Zoe thought she knew from her memories. These are places she often dreamed about. Cole tells her that her design is based on memories from different people, which is why they feel so real to her. He treats her like a human, making Zoe feel even closer to him, and she starts to grow more attached. During their time together, they hang out, laugh, relax, and visit old libraries. Cole starts to truly care for Zoe and sees that her emotions are real. Zoe, however, can't help but ask if Cole designed her to be like his ex-wife. Cole assures her that her personality is her own, not a copy of anyone else. Still, Zoe feels sad because she can't cry like a human, and this inability makes her feel incomplete. Cole, sensing her sorrow, lets her touch and feel him, marking a new chapter in their growing relationship. The next day at work, Zoe and Cole's connection becomes obvious, and Ash, watching them interact, feels jealous. His usual calm demeanor begins to shift as he becomes fixated on Zoe. Later, at a big technology summit, Ash is there to promote himself as a synthetic companion. He explains to the audience why synthetics like him are better partners than humans. They don't break hearts and can understand human needs more deeply. The audience applauds, but it becomes clear that Ash's speech is aimed directly at Zoe, showing just how fixated he has become on her. After the presentation at the summit, Zoe pulls Cole aside to show him a new technology, a screen that translates voices into colorful images. Excited to try it, they start dancing and singing, watching as the colors dance on the screen along with their voices. In that joyful moment, Zoe finally confesses her love for Cole. Moved by her words, Cole kisses her passionately, sealing their relationship. As their intimacy grows, Cole takes Zoe home with him that night, but he remains cautious about moving further physically. Instead, he introduces her to his child and ex-wife, and they all share a happy moment together. However, later at home, Zoe expresses her wish to become pregnant, which makes Cole hesitate. The next day, Zoe returns to the VIP RoboPub and asks to speak with Jules. The pimp, who knew Zoe was a synthetic from the start, gives them some privacy. Zoe wants to understand what Jules feels during her sessions with clients. Jules admits she's unsure if she feels anything at all. Men simply want her presence and use her for their satisfaction. Jules also reveals that once the synthetics lose their appeal, the pimp discards or dismantles them for parts. Zoe feels a deep sympathy for Jules and the others, but is also confused by her own feelings for Cole and the challenge of understanding intimacy when Cole holds back. Later, Zoe and Cole enjoy more time together, cooking dinner as a team and hanging out. A few days pass and Cole surprises Zoe with a road trip to a cabin. They spend the weekend there, and Cole slips a meaningful gift into her bag, symbolizing how close they've become. The trip is full of joy and closeness, and that night, the barriers between them fade away as they make love for the first time. For the first time, Zoe smiles and blushes, thanking Cole for everything as their relationship reaches a new level of connection. Back at the office, Ash notices Zoe and teasingly asks if she's learned the limits of her abilities. Seeing her blush, he quickly realizes that something has changed between her and Cole, and he quietly backs off, not saying much more. The next day, something unfortunate happens. Zoe sees Jules across the street and runs toward her without paying attention to the traffic. A car comes from the opposite direction and hits her. Cole rushes to her side, trying to stay calm, telling Zoe it was just an accident and not to panic. He takes her straight to the lab, where he plans to fix her synthetic body through surgery. But as Cole works to repair her, Zoe feels hurt in a different way. She sees Cole focusing only on fixing her broken body, not understanding her feelings or seeing her as more than just a machine to repair. She insists that she is still herself, but Cole is too focused on the technical repairs to pay attention to their emotional bond. Feeling disappointed, Zoe turns her face away, feeling a growing distance between them. After she is fully repaired and back at the lab, Zoe tries to carry on with her usual tasks, but things don't feel the same. She feels sad and low, struggling to find joy in her work. Cole, too, seems distant. He spends time with his ex-wife, trying to clear his head. His ex tells him to let go of his fears and allow himself to be happy, but Cole can't stop thinking about the accident. He hasn't fully recovered from the realization that Zoe, being a synthetic, can easily be broken. Meanwhile, Zoe begins spending more time with Ash, her lookalike. While having coffee together, Ash points out a couple in the cafe who are doing something called a Benel hookup. He explains that it's a new trend where strangers take a pill called Benny, which makes them feel like they're in love for a few hours. Ash talks about it casually, but Zoe feels a strange emptiness, still unsure how to deal with her own feelings and the growing distance between her and Cole. The next day at the lab, Cole sees an ad for Benel hookup on a screen. Concerned, he approaches Zoe to talk, but she seems distant. Zoe asks him if moving on from a relationship is something she was designed to do. She hints that she doesn't want to see him anymore and walks away to focus on her clients. Hurt and disappointed, Cole heads upstairs to his office where he runs into Ash. Ash, feeling lost, asks Cole what his purpose is and suggests that maybe Cole should create a companion for him too. Cole doesn't say much and simply leaves, heading to his car. Later that day, Zoe goes to her usual bar where a stranger mistakes her for someone else. Despite the mix-up, the man starts talking to her, clearly attracted. He mentions the banal hookup trend and casually suggests they try it together. Zoe, still feeling confused and distant from Cole, agrees. Unbeknownst to Zoe, Cole had anticipated she might be at the bar and had gone there to talk to her. When he arrives, he sees her with the stranger, but chooses not to approach. Zoe and the man leave the bar and go to a hotel to try the Benno together. Cole, quietly following them from a distance, watches as they enter the hotel. Inside, Zoe and the stranger join other couples who are also using the consuming it in different ways to heighten the experience. In the hotel room, the man kisses Zoe and she kisses him back, feeling the effects of the Cole, watching from outside, realizes that Zoe is making her own choices and decides to let her be. He walks away, feeling a mix of sadness and acceptance. Meanwhile, Cole finds himself sitting on a bench outside, where many people involved in Benno hookup wait to meet their partners. A woman sitting nearby has been watching him for a while. Eventually, they strike up a conversation and decide to go back to Cole's house, where they consume the Benno in a drink, ready to lose themselves in the temporary feeling of love. Cole, hoping to get revenge for what Zoe did, decides to try the Benno hookup experience for himself. But once the takes effect, he quickly becomes overwhelmed by the intense feelings of love. The woman he's with feels the same, and for a brief moment, they both experience a profound sense of connection and unconditional love. However, Cole knows deep down that these feelings aren't real. They're just the result of the next morning, the woman leaves his house as if nothing happened, and Cole is left confused but longing to feel that bliss again. Determined to chase that high, he becomes hooked on the experience. Meanwhile, Zoe has also become addicted to the feeling of being in love. She's now sitting on a park bench, searching for another Benno hookup. She soon finds someone attractive, and they get a room together, crushing Benno pills and consuming them. As the high kicks in, they passionately connect, but just like before, they part ways afterward as if they were strangers. The begins to consume both Zoe and Cole's lives. They both fall into a routine of seeking out these fleeting, induced romantic encounters, each one leaving them wanting more. In the next few scenes, we see both of them meeting different people on park benches, engaging in these empty romantic encounters over and over again. One day, while sitting on the bench, Zoe unexpectedly runs into Cole. Surprised to see each other, they decide to go for a drink. During their conversation, Zoe admits that without the pill, she no longer feels anything real. Cole, too, confesses that he feels the same emptiness. Despite still caring for each other, they both agree that they shouldn't rely on one another for support in this destructive cycle. To escape his growing guilt, Cole becomes even more addicted to the Benno pills. Desperate, he sneaks into the pharmaceutical department at work and steals some. As he's leaving, Ash catches him. Instead of stopping him, Ash simply warns Cole that the pills won't solve his problems, but lets him go without saying anything more. Cole returns home and takes too many pills, hoping to escape his pain and reality. After a few days, his ex-wife finds him unconscious at home. She takes care of him, nursing him back to health, and tries to convince him to go back to Zoe. But Cole refuses, believing their love is impossible because Zoe is a synthetic being. Meanwhile, at the lab, Zoe learns from Ash that her prototype is scheduled to be shut down in 38 days. She is shocked and saddened by this news. Ash shows her a room full of duplicates of herself, Zoe 2.0 models. But Zoe feels different from the others. She realizes that unlike them, she can't imagine her life without Cole. Heartbroken and determined to end her existence, Zoe goes to a brothel and arranges her own shutdown. At the same time, Cole finally decides to find Zoe. He goes to her apartment, but is greeted by one of the other Zoe models. This duplicate version speaks politely to him, but Cole struggles to accept that she isn't the real Zoe he loved. Confused and upset, he leaves the apartment. Meanwhile, Zoe is at the brothel, ready to be shut down. Just as she's about to be deactivated, memories of her real experiences with Cole start to flash through her mind. She suddenly realizes she doesn't want to die, and she changes her mind. The women at the brothel help her return to her apartment. Cole eventually finds Zoe lying on her bed. Ash and the others are there, but leave the two of them alone. Cole sits beside Zoe and apologizes for letting her go so easily. He admits that he loves her deeply, even if she's not human. At first, Zoe insists that she's just a synthetic, not deserving of real love. But when Cole tells her that she's different, that she's real to him, something inside her changes. For the first time, Zoe sheds a tear, a human-like response that none of her duplicates have ever been capable of. This tear marks a new beginning for Zoe and Cole, a sign that despite everything, she has become something more than just a synthetic being. Together, they embark on a new chapter in their lives, no longer bound by fear or doubt,